Okay, call a meeting back to order. It's Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. Open it up for a public hearing on the Randall Drive NID. Is there anybody here?
Do you want me to talk about it first?
Okay,
Do I need to?
Yeah, just move
Yeah.
closer.
Okay.
It's on.
it's on.
Yeah, it doesn't amplify it,
yeah.
just recording it.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
it's a small room, but.
Singing.
Okay, I'm Tony Stegeman with Gilmore and Bell, and we're serving as bond counsel to the county with respect to the Neighborhood Improvement District formation and ultimately the financing. So the hearing that you're holding is required by state law. Notice had been sent by mail to all of the property owners in the area affected, as well as a notice was published in the newspaper. And what we're doing today is deciding whether to move forward with the improvements. The plans and specs have been complete, as you know. The project has actually been bid out, so I'm going to let Eric or Larry talk about that. And you know, if you should decide to move forward after this hearing and hearing the bids, then the next thing you'll do is to approve an order directing the improvements to be made. So that's the next step in the process. Once the improvements are completed, you know, in the fall, then we will know all the final costs. We will start working with Joy Howard at WM Financial as the financial advisor to structure the long-term financing. And then once the long-term bonds are sold, we're going to know what that assessment will be. And so the goal is to get all of that done so that the first year of assessment can be on the tax bills this year. So I'm going to let, who's going to talk about the bids here?
Okay. I can talk about the project. Bartlett and West Engineering was the consultant that did the design work on it. And the original estimate, and I don't have the actual original estimate, but it was in the amount of about $336,000. Through the design process, we encountered some things, driveways and getting parking lots and things like that to match in properly without causing too much problem with ingress and egress. The price did raise a little bit to, I think, about $358,000 for the estimated price at the time we were getting ready to bid it. And we opened bids last week, and actually they came in very good with the low bid. Stockman Construction is the low bidder in the amount of $288,576,000 and 28 cents. And the bid is quite a bit lower than the next low. There's quite a bit of money on the table, about $70,000. You know, that's always something to be concerned about. So I did speak with the owner of the contractor, Stockman Construction, and talked to him about it. And they are a reputable company in town. And you know, obviously they weren't happy with it being that much lower, but they will stand by that and they will do the project. So it's a good project from everybody's standpoint, and we would, when we get to the point of recommending an award, we will do that. So is there any questions about the actual project itself? Okay.
I suggest that you, I guess, invite if there are any property owners
Yeah.
who want to speak about the project or ask questions.
Is there anybody here who would like to speak?
If you'd like to. Anybody or everybody or?
Yeah, right.
Microphone just records, so.
Okay. My name's Darren Patterson with P&T Management. I had some concerns over cost assessment. It didn't look like any of the homes that use this road every day were going to be assessed any of the costs on it. Is that accurate?
I don't have the map in front of me.
There's 3 homes actually that would be.
Can you go get the map?
Oh, that's right, they're at the end.
Actually 8 homes beyond the map.
There's
12 mailboxes, so I'm gonna guess 12
Yeah.
people live past the 980 feet, why aren't they being assessed?
As I recall, the pavement is not going
But they drive over it every
beyond
day and get benefit
turnaround.
from it, right? Or
They have
another way
the
out there
most to
that
gain
I'm not
now.
aware of.
The valuation of their homes are gonna go up a lot more than what some of these rental properties are gonna go up, which basically is off of income, which isn't gonna change because of this road being replaced. All these really nice homes at the end of it are gonna gain substantially out of this, and they're not involved with the cost. It does not seem fair whatsoever, in my opinion.
Would you like me to address?
I'm sorry?
Would you like me to address that?
Yes, please.
So legally, the property that can be assessed is only the property that's within the boundaries of the neighborhood improvement district. And when the petition was drawn up, it was only for the properties that were going to touch the improvement of the road. And the properties beyond that, while they may benefit in some respects, they don't benefit as much as the properties that actually touch the improvement. And so there's no requirement legally that absolutely every property that might benefit be included within the boundaries. The boundaries of the NID were drawn, and then the assessment is based upon the benefit to those properties.
Is there a way to change it to where they would be included into the?
Not without starting again.
Make it a toll road?
You'd have to start.
There's a lot of
over with
roads
a new
like that that other
petition.
people are gonna use, you don't get to charge everybody to use them though. I'm trying to find a map yet with all that, did you have it?
I'm looking
I don't
on
have
Google
it.
Maps because GIS doesn't work.
Well, it seems as though the original petition should have included that group.
But it's not their road.
They drive that road, that's
They
the
drive
only
it
road to
every
their
day.
residents.
I drive it, but I live in Wardsville, you're not gonna be able to assess me for it.
But they have property that's at that road, on that road.
But they're not on that road.
They're on that road, they're just further down that road.
It's all Randall Drive.
Yeah.
They have no way to their home without using this road.
I'm still trying to find a map here, so I apologize.
I'll go get it.
I have
I'll
a
go
map
get
right
it.
here if you want to see it.
Okay, he's got it.
That's exactly That's 7 homes beyond the end of the main road. If I recall, that's kind of wise there, the driveway going to one.
May I ask who initiated this?
The petition was originally initiated by property owners.
Yeah.
By property owners within this map.
There's a
Yes.
map, yes.
Are they here?
Yeah, I'm the one that headed it up. I did. I talked to most of the property owners, so.
Yeah, come up.
I did talk to most of the property owners. I was not able to get a hold of all of them. We had enough to sign the petition, enough to move forward with the NID, if I'm recalling that correctly. And that's, like I say, I wasn't able to get a hold of all of the property owners to talk with them. So this concern came up with a lot of people. It was a concern of ours. It was a complaint of ours, really. But the way the law reads, I believe, there was nothing we could do about it, so.
Well, my understanding was that there was no desire to extend the paved road beyond what you're doing.
There was no desire from any property owners down the line to be a part of the NID, so.
But
I
yet
think
they
if I
travel- But yet they travel on this road as a means to get to their residence that's property on this. So we limited the range to an area where we get enough people to sign a petition.
I'm going off memory because this, I forget when this went through, like, was it a year ago? Let me see that, Jeff.
GIS is back up.
Petition was signed
Yeah.
and turned in probably,
Third day of June,
15.
I don't, has it been that long?
2015.
Order determining the advisability of the Randall Drive Neighborhood Improvement District. So I don't know what the process was on that. An order determining the advisability.
Right, and what was the date of that?
That is June the 3rd, 2016.
Okay. So the final petition was submitted just prior to that?
I know I visited with several of the property owners on the gravel, and none of them were willing to be included or wanted to help in any way.
They would have voted no against it,
They would have
so they
voted
wouldn't have
no.
included. Okay,
So
so,
it would have halted any of the repairs or
Yeah.
any of the replacement, basically.
okay.
As far as getting it into the county. Because our goal, I mean, I'll be honest, we own several of the properties that are included in this, and our goal, ultimate goal is to get it up to par and county maintained at that point. So that was our end goal.
And how many properties do you have?
I think 10 buildings.
10 buildings. So you make up close to the majority of this little mapped area, and that was strategically limited to a space that did not include additional residents down the street.
Not on purpose, it was just to where the concrete ends at this time. And that's how the boundaries were drawn up, I believe. So, like I said, we would have personally liked to have seen everybody on the whole street involved on it, but it was proving to be very difficult. Honestly, on my part of it, I've been working on this for about 4 years. I think this- that's kind of where we were at with it. Our end goal, if you have property or live on the street or anything, you know how bad the street is. And us and one other property management company are really the only ones that pay for any snow removal or anything.
Yeah, so for the record, this originates from, I guess, the county not holding the original developer to the codes. So we have a subdivision that was installed.
There's no
No,
requirement.
There-
nothing
yeah.
to do with it at all.
There's not.
No, somebody built it on their own and put it in
There wasn't, there's no requirement that the county, they have to build it to our standards. We have no
They can build it however they
authority to require them to do it. But the only thing that we have the ability to do is say yes or no, we accept the roads into the system.
Okay.
It never was built to standards, and that's why it never was accepted into the county road system.
So if they don't build them into standards, are they forced to do some sort of association?
No, under present law, no.
Okay.
It's left up to the landowners to maintain. We have streets, paved streets, several of them throughout the county that never was built to county standards, and they're maintained by whoever lives there, so.
So the other thing that I had in question was, the cost was allocated based on street frontage, which I would argue that's not necessarily a fair representation of road usage. You have single-family houses that are probably have a similar square frontage of road that some of the units that have like 18 units. And clearly those with 18 units have a lot more road traffic and usage, and they're gonna be allocated a similar cost as a single-family home. Is that how this is normally done, or is this?
Under the statute has it states that the assessment can be allocated by front footage or other reasonable methods of assessment so that the property is fairly assessed. So there are lots of ways that would be legally supportable. This one is specifically mentioned by statute, that's why we used this one.
It says can, but not shall. Is that right? So you don't have to use that method.
We didn't have to, but at this point, whatever's in the petition is what has to be
So
followed.
you would say by number of occupants. I would say by further in, the folks at the 980th feet. If you're gonna exclude the homeowners, then let's say the property owner at foot 980 use more of that road. And I have a stake in that because I have the first house in on the corner. I use this much of it. And yeah, I plow it. I have my people plow the snow off it. So yeah, I do maintain that. And I'm gonna pay for that? That really isn't fair. Especially excluding those folks on the end, which does sound somewhat strategic. You leave them out because they would have voted no? I'm not feeling that.
You derive a bunch of benefit to it. We argue these on everyone on how you're gonna do it, street frontage, amount of properties you own, how much of a vote. So then your vote should carry less weight if you use less weight of that road did. So maybe the people at the end use more of the road, and maybe they use 90% of the road, so 90% of their vote should count. You use 8% of the road, maybe only 8% of your vote should count. I know it's weird saying 8% of your vote, but then you shouldn't carry as much weight if you're not using as much of the
Or
road.
as much cost then either, right?
So, you're driving benefit from it too. I mean, there's several ways to look at it. I don't disagree with you. I'm just arguing both sides.
No, and that's what.
So
we're
if we don't
here.
want to do this, then let's just end the hearing and be done with it. We've been through enough of these before where people argue about how to do it. I don't want to sit through that part of it. If we don't want to do it, let's not do it. If we want to do it, let's do it. That's where I'm at with it. I don't have a lot of patience for these things. I don't even like the NIDs because we're having headaches with them anyway. I think this is a way for us to help you all fix the road, get the county to take it over, and then y'all basically don't have to mess with it anymore. So, but how y'all derive who's gonna pay for it was up to the home association or whatever. We really don't have any stake in that. We can give you all guidance and provide you with materials and information, but I mean, we can't make y'all do it one way or the other. And one way to do it is the people that use more of the road, they pay more. That would be entirely up to the home association. Or if you have, 6 properties or acreage. So, I just don't want to sit here all day and talk about this because I kind of thought this was a done deal and we just had to have a informal hearing to approve this stuff. So, I don't know where y'all are at with it. I hadn't heard anything about this up until this point,
Yeah,
as far as anybody being against it, so.
Tony, does the petition currently say that it's by frontage?
Yes.
So to redo it at this point would have to be a new petition?
That's correct. The advantage of the neighborhood improvement district, just for anybody who doesn't know this, is that not only does the county agree to take the road in, but it enables the costs of the road to be spread out over 20 years. And the assessments against the properties are then over a 20-year period, if you choose to do that. I mean, clearly everyone will be given an option to just prepay up front without any further interest, but so that is one of the distinct advantages of using the neighborhood improvement district as a method for getting these improvements done. So that's one thing I just wanted to throw out there, but
yeah, the petition was presented to us. We don't go out and look for roads that we want to take over, just because we want to take them over. But you are going to get much better roads, and we're going to maintain them, so you are going to get some benefit from this.
I personally would like to see if we're gonna do all of it, or part of it, do all of it. I don't disagree with that. But then you got that much more headache. They own 3 acres, 8 acres, 10 acres. How much do they have to pay? They use that much more of the road, and probably biting off this smaller portion of it made it easier to deal and to disperse the whatever amounts you'd have to pay on it, so.
Well, this is the same argument as we talk about paving gravel roads and upgrading gravel roads and going all the way to the end of the road to the last mailbox. And, that's not a practice that I like to see, just because, then somebody builds the road further and then they want you to pave it. So I just don't agree with that. But, obviously, if there's people that are against this, that comes into play too. have who was for and who was against, or just the people that signed it that was for the petition, or? Because I haven't seen that.
It's on file. I don't have it with me.
What do you want?
The petition?
Oh, I have it here.
I mean, obviously, I guess you three guys are against this,
Clearly.
or
Clearly against it, absolutely.
you're against the assessment of?
I don't think it was done right, first of all. If they're gonna do this, it is gonna be everybody that benefits. And to pick on just these revenue generating units, or whatever you wanna call us, clearly unfair.
My understanding was that the properties further from the edge of the pavement were absolutely not going to sign the petition, right?
So again, you exclude them because they were gonna be a no vote and your petition wouldn't pass. That's kind of self-serving, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think we're gonna get to the same place. So either you have no project because you couldn't get enough people to sign a petition to pull in those homeowners, or you decide not to continue with the project.
I'm for either one of those.
So,
For us, I mean, something has to be done with the street. So it was either try to get a hold of everybody and somehow share the cost, however we came up with it, or do this. And in exploring everything, like I said, I spent quite a lot of time with this. I don't think I've met any of you guys. I've tried to contact everybody on the street multiple times. I don't know who all signed the petition. There was enough to sign the petition. I know that I did try to contact everybody.
12 people signed, you're 10 of them, so that means 2 other people.
I don't think it exactly works quite like that, but
the sufficiency of the petition is based upon square footage, so area of property. And the law requires 2/3 by area.
So he has 2/3 just sitting there.
I don't know.
Yeah, he has 10 properties, isn't that what you said?
but they're all on smaller acreage too.
Well,
I
add it
don't
up, it's just
remember.
math. I mean, come on, seriously, you have a 2/3 vote sitting there. So what chance did we have? Just because you want it, it passes. I clearly don't see the honesty in that. That doesn't seem fair at all.
Honestly, you could be right, I don't remember.
I kind of feel like I am right. And I'm thinking
I know
by the
that-
silence, I
I know
got a
that-
lot of agreement here too. But
I know that it was close, but I don't remember if it was under, I'll just saying.
Do we have lists of all the
Yeah, I'm-
owners and properties?
I'm going through the list right
I mean,
now.
'cause I don't know, this here, is this what you emailed us? I don't have a map on it, or that was attached. Cause I mean,
I
it's,
got the original petitions, he's going to, all those people that signed.
Dan, did you guys have anything you want to say, or?
Well, I will say my personal opinion, but I'm not the true property owner, and so I would have to discuss this a little bit more with the property owner. But the thing about it is this was to redo the current paved area. And all of the maintenance is, snow removal. Shrimp goes in and does a lot of that. And we pay for that. We've been paying for this for a long time, been property owners for a lot of years there. In our opinion, I think, the idea is to improve what is existing so that then the county maintains it. Because we're paying for it as it is. And our idea is, or our opinion is, that hopefully down the road, it costs us less. So, I live currently, personally, live on a road that we paved years ago, and we had, in the middle of the road, we had a neighbor that chose not to buck up for the project. And we did it anyway. And to see what it's done for our neighborhood and done for our homes and our values and all, it was well worth it. I mean, I understand your point of view. It's not necessarily the way I see it. And again, I'm in favor of it because it's a paved section of street that it's a mess now. And for those properties to ever be worth any more, we gotta start with that street. And we gotta have curbs, and we gotta have, and then we gotta have and then I think, Sheriff does a great job, but I think that the county will do a better job of maintaining what we have. So, that's my opinion. I will have to check to make sure I'm correct on all that with the actual property owner.
Okay.
So it was attached to the orders, what the map was attached to. It's got all the names.
10,
I mean,
10 out of 17.
obviously, I understand your guys' opinion on where you're coming from. But when we drop this today, I don't think that we'll bring it back. I mean, we've been working on this for I don't know how many years, multiple years, but, I mean, if we don't go forward with this, the road is kind of yours to fix, to do what you want with it. I mean, it'll stay private for probably forever. So, I don't mean to speak for Public Works, but I mean, the road was a piece of crap when it was put in, and the developer developed all the stuff, and we got the same thing going on in other parts of the county. I mean, people want us to take the road, well, build it to our specs, and then they don't build it to our specs, and then they want us to take the road and maintain it and repair it and everything else. Well, that comes at a huge cost. So, I see both sides. I mean, maybe your maintenance cost isn't that much right now, and it probably isn't, because you're getting the snow removal pushed. But
No,
what's your
that's what I
cost
said.
gonna be to get the road fixed?
Signed the petition.
I mean,
Oh.
$300,000. And that's just to get it fixed. That doesn't maintain it for years to come. I mean, that concrete street's probably got a 20-year life before we gotta do other stuff. And we got stormwater issues everywhere now, and so stormwater becomes an issue there too. And so I don't think there's any inlets or anything in there right now, is there? Two?
One,
Yep.
and it all dumps through one property, or between two properties.
And I'd ask how much we've already spent to get to this far. and
Yeah,
how much
I was
we
gonna
will
bring
have
that
to.
up. Tony, what's the repercussion of not going forward with it? How much money has been spent, and how does that get paid?
I think you've just spent your engineering, right? Which the
It's
last
probably-
number you gave me was 48,000.
I think it's actually come in a little bit under, so let's say 40, just for,
Yeah,
okay.
the county will just have to pay it.
And closing costs. how much is it?
You'll just,
Short term.
you'll have to pay off the note.
What was the estimated annual assessment on the last NID that we did? Do you recall what it was annually? Or over the 20-year period?
The estimates are on the
It's on-
spreadsheet up here.
You have another copy of this?
Not with me.
Can we do
Is this,
copies of this on that one out here?
Small version.
Debbie, can we make copies of this out here? On my board?
Recall that?
It varies,
Yes.
because it's all by front footage.
Right.
So many of the
Stuff
properties,
that doesn't have her
as I
footage.
recall, were in the 2000 range.
Annually? Okay.
That's if
That was
they
for-
don't prepay it and it goes out,
That was for this.
It's anywhere from 6,000 to 30,000.
yeah.
It's common.
You said the ones you circled on there had signed the petition?
Yes.
So there were 17 total that signed? Am I adding my math correct?
No, there were 17.
10 signed?
10
out of
signed,
17?
yeah.
Yeah, 10
That's
signed.
like 60%. But I thought you said you needed 2/3.
Well, 2/3 by area. So
Oh.
you have to know
Okay.
the acreage of each.
Oh my God. Debbie, can you hold that socket? Son.
You want this one back? You want it to have
No,
the acreage of
I've
each
not
lot.
done this yet at a meeting.
We have 12 signatures on this.
Yeah, 12.
I can read it now though, so it's not funny. Okay, so 10 out of the 17, but it's based on the frontal or area, actual area. That was she talking, Steve. It's area, right? It's not frontage.
Well, some of them, we had to combine.
Oh. So all these on this sheet signed in favor, or?
The ones who I circled, those are the ones who signed for you and Bill. So the ones I circled, signed, the first ones did not.
Okay.
Okay. And then. you see
Oh, this
the
ain't a copy of
area
what I
by
gave you, is it?
acreage.
Right.
That's how
Debbie?
you calculate
Okay.
sufficiency on the 2/3.
Well, the one I gave you had them circled.
Okay.
That's the one,
And then
Chris has
I
that.
know, that's what I was trying to get copies so I can look
And
at
how
it.
they're different.
I don't know, this just,
And these are the-
that's getting down in the weeds part of it. We're just supposed to do the approval. We can, I don't know, can we extend the hearing and let them work their way through it and figure out if they're gonna figure something out or if we're just gonna punt?
Eric, how long are your prices good on your bid?
Well, I mean, I don't think we want to wait around too long, because if we wait too long, then we can't get done by the completion date, which pushes it another year for actually assessing the properties. So really, you know, if we don't award the project within a month, we may as well not do it at all. It's not so much on the price is good. You see what I'm saying?
So you gentlemen just want to leave everything the way it is?
I don't disagree with the concept of getting it to the point where it needs, to where it meets the code of the county so that they'll take it over. I understand and agree with that concept, but the way you put together the list, okay, if my property goes up 5% in value because of this wonderful road that is, and the guy down on the gravels goes up 20% because he's benefiting from the same road, why isn't he paying part of this? Those people on the gravel are benefiting. I counted 12 mailboxes. And that's not to mention undeveloped property of people that just own property and haven't developed yet. So that's at least another 12 wallets you could have tapped into to decide whether, if it's gonna go. And I mean, I'm not irrational. I understand that. Get it to the county standards, you take it over, I get that. But how you pick the list, no, not just us. Get everybody, all or nothing.
Another thing with that, correct me if I'm wrong, but if the gravel was included, that road also had to be brought up to county specs with pavement, so it would have raised the total cost. Again, they would be benefiting, but it would still have raised the total cost of the project up more.
That is definitely something that we looked at and compared. And when it came down to it, like Gary had said, and everybody had said, the people on the gravel part, they said they were fine leaving it as gravel, okay? And by platted area, you know, it was determined that we could only do that platted area, and that was actually the paved area. And it was determined just to improve what's paved currently. And that's how it was set.
No, I know how you did it, but you should, but still, who pays for it has to include everybody that benefits. And those people on gravel benefit. They don't have another road, they can't go out the back door and say, well, that's not our road, we didn't pay for it, we won't pay for it. No, you benefit every day. They should have included.
Legally, I don't think that can happen.
You can't include them unless you're also going to extend the paved road to touch their properties.
We should be able to block it off and let them find their own entrance then. Well, I mean, come on. I know
That's not
That's
realistic,
the other
though.
extreme, but come on, really? They just get to.
Well, then you should be able to
passively benefit.
landlock people if you don't like them, you know, sell them some land and landlock them. I see where you're coming from, but
I hope so.
there's,
I mean, I'm trying to be as clear as I can.
well, it's clear, but I mean, it doesn't make sense to block the road off. You
I know
can't
that
do
was an
that.
extreme example,
They're
but
gonna
I
still
think
use the
randomly
road.
stuff
Lots
I
of
throw is
people
an
use the
extreme
roads,
example.
but if you're gonna extend the road and fix all of it to the very end, and it's gonna increase the cost so much on your end of it, doesn't make sense either, so. I see both sides of it. I'm not gonna sit here all day and watch it. It's like a tennis match right now, and I don't even like tennis. So, I mean, what do we need to do? Do we need to extend the hearing and look more into it? Maybe try to find a different way or get some way that there's a compromise possibly? We didn't pick the per footage or by area, so I know when you say that, I was assuming that the home association had kind of come together and, you know, made a compromise, and the best compromise is when nobody's happy. So whatever y'all need to do, we want to work with you and try to fix the problem. Otherwise, we punt it. I'm not going to make anybody do it.
So, hold on. The petitioners, the people that signed the petition represent how much of footage of the road in favor of?
I counted 10 out of 17 owners, but it's not by area, so
Just the curb, the paved portion,
I don't know by
because that's what we're doing,
portion.
right? We're just doing the paved portion, so.
Right.
Yeah, 10 out of those 17 signed it. But I don't know what percentage of the area they own, a percentage of the curb frontage they own. I don't know how all that, there's so many ways to figure it.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I understand where the gentleman's coming from, like, well, I don't wanna be paying the same as somebody at the end who's benefiting more, and so, I mean, I understand it,
But
but
you
at
also
some
don't
point,
wanna pay for the snow removal for the people at the end of the road.
I'd be
all
trying to
year.
get rid of it, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
the county will take it
It's been
over,
done
great.
forever.
Let the government take care of it, I love it. You don't have to worry about it, you know, it's a little bit every year, but your snow removal, and then eventually you're gonna have to redo that whole road. It's concrete, right?
Yeah.
And that's gonna be even more expensive than just, you know, putting chip seal or asphalting it.
The
So-
improvement is asphalt.
So, but I mean, to do it, you'd have to tear it all out, and you're gonna eventually have that cost anyway. Now you got an opportunity to put it onto a 20-year payment, property payment.
Okay, so the properties that signed up are predominantly these, which are the ones that Barry.
Right. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I understand where they're coming from. I figured it was probably most of them are rentals, right, or duplexes.
I
So,
have 4 plexes. The largest one, I think, has 7 units in it. I'm sorry, 9 units. That's the largest. Everything else is 4 plexes.
yeah.
Is it possible for us to go back and try to compromise on this somewhat before?
That's what I would see if we could do that. I mean, we needed, time is of the essence here though, because
You won't be
we've
able to
got.
finish your project this year if you have to start over with your petition, but, I mean, that, maybe it shouldn't be the driving force, but.
But-
I guess where I'm coming from with that, and this would just be a personal frustration. I've been working on this for quite some years, and I apologize if I didn't get a hold of you guys, but I certainly tried many, many times. Would love to have had all these talks with you guys a long time before this. Sent letters, I've called, sent certified letters. You know, I've attempted all of this many multiple times. So for us, you know, the street is in really horrible shape, needs repairs years ago, really. And, you know, for us, if this gets delayed, that's another year that we're paying for snow removal, we're having to do any repairs, because there's so many.
Think it's something worked out.
Way past due that we just haven't done because we thought this was coming through. I completely understand where you guys are coming from. We feel, honestly, we're the largest portion of this, we're going to be paying the largest portion of this as well. We're not, I mean, you can look at all the assessed values on our properties, we're bearing the largest brunt of the cost. We're the biggest pushers, but we're bearing the largest brunt of the cost. So, that being said, I would love to compromise, I don't know how to do that. without pushing this numbers down the road. And I don't know who that costs, if it ends up costing us, you know, if it adds to the next cost, or if the county just absorbs it, I don't know. But I understand where you're coming from, but that's my side of it. You know, I've done my due diligence, I feel, in trying to reach out to everybody on the street. And I apologize if I didn't, but I believe I've tried, so.
I think what we have is the county has to vote on whether to do this or not. That's what it's coming down to, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we reject it and don't do it, it's, we won't ever come back to it, I don't think, so.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to absorb that $40,000 that we've already paid out. That's money that the county is obligated to pay that we'll have to pay. We have a short-term note to cover the engineering as we currently stand. And if we vote to not go forward with it, we're gonna have to, the county will have to absorb that $40,000.
As Public Works and as the county, we don't search for these projects to do the agreement to us. Our position has always been, if somebody wants to do this, we'll work with you to make it happen, okay? Regardless of who comes, okay? Gary came to us and said, we want to try to do this project, and it was determined, I know you all disagree, but it was determined, everybody, not just him, not just us, everybody involved, determined that the concrete section was what it needs to be, okay? And that's how it went forward, and now we're to the position where either we move forward with it or we don't. Just so you all know, you know, as it relates to how the county may vote, in your all's opinion, the price that we have right now, it probably will not be any cheaper than that. The estimated price was $358,000, and I'll tell you right now, we were concerned that was gonna be too low. We thought it would come in a lot higher, and actually the next higher bid was higher than that. So, you know, price-wise, if you're looking, long-term, might benefit the property, I can assure you that this is probably the lowest it's gonna be. So think of that in your feelings, you know, how you perceive it moving forward. We're not for or against, we're neutral in the whole thing. Like I said, if they wanna do the project and the commission directs us to do that, then we'll do that, we'll make it happen and do it, you know, to the best benefit to the public. I believe so. That's kind of where we stand.
So how many of y'all are in favor of doing it at this point? Just two?
I move that we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I'm in favor of moving forward.
I am too.
Do I have a motion in a second?
Yeah, that was just general discussion,
I don't
but,
know.
anyway.
I don't know, it's just one of the things I don't like about NIDs.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's-
There's two sides to all that, and
I think it's gonna be a great project for everybody when it's done. I think there's just too much going on with it to move on with it. I don't know, I didn't sit at any of your home association meetings, or if y'all had any, and I've been at some of ours that we talked about doing NIDs, and that was what kept coming to the forefront was who's gonna pay what share, what's fair, and everybody's perception of what was fair was totally different. So, you know, you got the people at the front of the road, and these are gravel roads, so it's a little different. You got a lot more people driving on that road and throwing up dust on their house, so, you know, they were forward a little more, so. I don't know, I just wish we'd have a lot more people on board with it. I saw 7 out of 10, or 7 out of 17, 10 out of 17 that signed it. Is that correct? And that's just property owners, so I'd like to have seen a little more buy-in, so I'll probably vote against it, but if y'all are for it, let's move forward, and that's up to you all. Or you wanna give them a week to try to work something out, but then you gotta change the petition, which I don't know why you can't just revise it, but.
You would have to go back through the petition process. So the petition has to be submitted, and then you have to allow 7 days to pass, or people withdraw their signatures, then you can approve the advisability. So, I mean,
Gotcha.
and then we would have to hold a new public hearing. So that's where the timing comes in. Even if you were able to very quickly get a new petition signed, you've got, 1 week delay before you can actually approve the advisability ordinance or order to move forward. Then you've got at least 20 days notice for a new public hearing. So, I mean, you're talking at the best a 30-day period before you could get to this point again. And I don't know if your bids would hold that long, but, I mean, if they would, then that's great. But
Yeah, the problem for the contractor, the way they bid it, they also, not part of the bid, they don't bid time in that. I mean, it's just a cost per unit, but it assumes a certain amount of time to do the project, and as you compress that window, their ability to do that goes down. So you really,
right.
my advice would be, I would not want to throw this out another month.
And if the idea is to go ahead and extend it to those other homes down the road, then this bid is no good, because you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board on engineering and engineer the rest of the road to be paved.
We're still gonna have the same.
Probably.
No, it could increase.
Higher.
Yeah, so, I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
It's just, we need to either move or not move with the existing. So,
We probably just need a motion for the,
To approve the order.
I move that we approve an order directing the Randall Drive neighborhood improvements to be made.
I'll second. Let's do a roll call.
Sam?
Yes.
Jeff?
no.
Chris?
Yes?
Did you count? What one? I'm just, tension's a little high in here. I'm trying to, seeing what the vote was. Well, I guess we gotta sign this then? And then what else? Do we have a contract we gotta sign?
Yep. The next thing is to
Oh.
award the bid.
Okay.
Okay, I talked about it earlier, the contract. Let me get situated here. We had 4 bids on the project, and they ranged from $288,000 to $468, pretty big range. The estimate was $358,000 plus. The low bidder is Stockman Construction in the amount of $288,576.28. Spoke with the contractor, with the concern, with the spread between the next low, and they are good with it and will honor that, and would like to move forward with the project. And we would recommend award of that amount to Stockman Construction. Is there any questions about the project?
No.
Want to take contracts?
We got a contract.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I don't need to sign those.
Do you remember from the Parkview Meadows project that we had delays and whatnot, and had to extend the note on that? We did put some provisions in that contract where if there is a delay that causes additional expense to the county, the contractor has to absorb that as a damage. So there is language in there to cover us on that.
I move that we award and sign the contract for the Randall Drive Neighborhood Improvement District project to Stockman Construction.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have anything else?
If I could go back to accounts payable this morning, we did find the jury.
Nope, I gotta get that.
It was on the agenda. So if I should, if accounts payable approved pending review.
I move that we approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other?
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah.
we weren't able to get it in on the last, before we went into recess, but I did want to talk to you about the stormwater work that we need to do on
I'm going on
Sheer
vacation.
Drive. And Amanda, you saw the pictures that Larry sent you over the weekend, damages. That stormwater system through that does need to be replaced and soon. I met with CMPS this morning, and they are willing to start surveying on that this week in advance of getting a contract signed with them, but they do have CMPS does have some flood study work that they have done in that subdivision recently for different properties and have some data to be able to start on that. And like I said, they would be able to survey and get going on that this week. So I would just like a verbal approval from the commission to go ahead and negotiate a contract with CMPS, and we'll bring that to you next week. Just looking at some broad numbers, 10,000 or less was what they told me. 10,000 on the high side. So just so you can kind of be thinking about that. Cost-wise to do the project, I'm gonna say the 50 to 75,000 range, but we won't really know until we get in and see what exactly we gotta do. There may be some street profile change along with the stormwater work.
We, like I mentioned to you in emails over the weekend, we do have a water line that was in danger, that we worked with water company, and we've got it stabilized for now. So, like I said, it's one we need to move on fairly quickly, just so we don't create some more issues down the road.
Need any action from us?
No, just,
It's
I
just
mean,
basically a
just-
blessing.
Yeah.
Unless you've got some concern about it, I'll move forward and bring you something next week.
Yeah, we'll have it back up to you. We just want to let you know that they are going to start the survey with the weather it's coming in. They would like to get it done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Say if you don't fix it, the road will be gone next.
Well, if we lose that water line, what Dave Kemp told Larry Bishop, we won't have to worry about the road because the water line's got enough pressure, it'll take out the
Take
rest
it
of it.
out. In case you're concerned, we did have money in our budget for miscellaneous stormwater work in the 803 and the 805. And Joyce put some numbers together for me, and I think it's in the 800,000 range. I don't know if that sounds about right. But it's substantial that we knew we were gonna do some stormwater work. We didn't think it would be the result of these floods, but we had it in there because we know we have some work we need to do, so.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
I kind of had him last night.
Debbie, you got anything else?
We got 11:30 meeting, so we can.
Maybe we stand in recess till 4:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's rough.